joined by Blaine Fowler, one of my travel buddies to Augusta and the Masters.
I can hear the birds right now.
It was crazy.
Yeah, they were tweeting a lot.
Could you hear the birds in there?
You can't see them.
Yeah,
You can't see the birds. I'm like, where are the birds?
They're deep.
Could you hear them?
Oh yeah, they're deep undercover.
You can hear them,
and it wasn't
but you
affecting
can't
like
see them.
Tiger and Brooks and all those guys. Like they're just unflappable, but they were bothering me. Like when they were standing over a putt, I was like, hey, I can't focus on the putt right now. These birds are driving me nuts. I don't know how they focus it out.
I don't know if it's piped in
They're
sound. I know
super loud, you're saying?
No, they're all over the place, but you can't see them.
No.
So Spencer's got some of his gear on, and I don't have any on because I went into that shop, and you can only get the stuff at that shop. And I was not going to lug around like 80 pounds of stuff like Spencer went and got a bag that looked like Santa Claus's pack, put it over his shoulder, and schlepped it around the golf course all day long with him.
That was the sacrifice.
But Augusta is like this great system. So I bought $800 worth of gear.
Yeah.
And I put it all in a bag, and then you walk next door, and I shipped it out. So it's coming to my house sometime this week.
Yeah.
That's
Look,
awesome.
I had to take care of my guys. Ben
know.
Bagley, Junior
No,
Phillips.
I'm like, what? I was like,
floating me
what
money.
are
Like,
you
get me
doing? You
something.
just spent an hour and a half in that store. And he's like, well, he starts naming off names. I'm just like, man, you're a better man than me because I got $800 worth of stuff for me and shipped it home.
That's awesome, man.
So,
Santa Claus is here for all that put it into my wallet. I hopefully I can deliver. Okay, so we talked about the Masters experience. Now back to reality, Blaine, with BYU basketball. And this morning I'm on the phone call with Jeremy, and I'm thinking, holy cow, if Gideon George is leaving, now Mark Pope is dealing with another scenario of like, okay, well, how are we going to piece this thing together? So what's your reaction to Gideon George leaving, and how does this now affect BYU basketball and their roster shakeup moving forward?
well, it hurts, and there's a couple of scenarios that I see happening with Gideon possibly. At first, when I read that, I thought, man, they expected him to be a primary scorer and in a big role. And you remember that NIT game where he played so well. That's who they wanted him to be. Yeah. And, a vital role, a key cog, a leading role on this team. And so I thought, man, this is not good. And then I thought about Yoli when, the first year that he declared. And then I calmed down a little bit. I got back off the ledge. I've climbed back in the window. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, it's not the fact that he put in that initial tweet. I have not put my college career in jeopardy because he's not going to lose eligibility. He's going to keep his college eligibility.
He's not going to sign an agent.
This allows him to go out and test the waters. It allows him to play in some of these pre-NBA draft camps and get some exposure, which is nothing but good for him, right? And not only good for exposure for him, but helps him develop as a player, play against really, really good talent in some of these camps. So that's all a good thing. And maybe the mindset is, and I haven't talked to Gideon because we were gone all last week, maybe the mindset is this is a good idea for me, keep my eligibility, come back like Yoli did and have an unbelievable next year. I think Yoli was a better player because of it and come back and play. That's scenario one. I think I'm leaning toward that's what's going to happen with him. And that's going to be good. That's all good for BYU. The other scenario is he goes out, he gets exposure, and all of a sudden GMs and player personnel directors from European teams come and say, hey, do you want to come play in Italy? And we get an Eric Mika situation where he decides it's time for me to go make money. And that concerns me a little bit because that's a real possibility. He can play there. He's not polished enough, and he's not good enough to be drafted in the NBA yet. And could he go get better and have a phenomenal senior year and all of a sudden be one? Yeah, he could be. I don't think he can play himself in these camps into being an NBA guy. And so that's the other scenario. I think the probability is higher that he raises his stock, he gets exposure, he comes back to BYU, has a phenomenal year, and raises his stock even more. I'm hopeful that's the case because he needs to be a key part of what they do this next year.
Yeah, he's not an NBA draft pick, clearly. Like, single-digit scorer in the WCC, percentage is a little lower. And my concern for Gideon is the same concern I have a little bit for Trevin, Spencer, Seneca, and who's the guy? Like, and there could be two, but like out of the four, it's just like waves. My turn, your turn, my turn. Which that's not going to get BYU in the NCAA tournament next year. Like, you got to have two of those.
It's okay if three of those guys average 12.
Right. I just
like if they're consistently all scoring 12.
Yes.
Then you're okay. You don't have to have. I've seen really good teams that don't have a 17-point scorer, but they have 5 guys that average in double figures, and they're always in double figures. It's not one guy 19 one night and the other guy's 3, and then the other guy like you just described, which is what we witnessed this last year. But if all of a sudden they all go, hey, we understand our role, we know where our points come, and all 3 of us average 12, and Foose averages 14 and 12. That's kind of a 14 and 9, okay? And Atiki all of a sudden is a threat in the post. I would be okay with that. I'd like to see more consistent play out of all of them because they all had flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
And Johnson was a guy who early in the season I thought, whoa, this is bonus because this guy was supposed to be this lockdown defender, and now look at him scoring and knocking down threes, and then it kind of fell off. If he can become who he was for a stretch, he can be really good. Gideon, if he can become – Gideon's got all kinds of upside. And then Foose and Atiki, they're just scratching the surface. And Foose was good, and he's just scratching the surface. But they've got to add some pieces if they're going to compete this next year, and they've got to add some pieces if they're going to be ready in 2 years to be in the Big 12.
Blaine Fowler is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Clearly, BYU needs a point guard because –
might need 2.
outside of Dallin Hall, who was a combo guard off of a mission, he can play point guard. He did so in high school, but he's just more of a naturally gifted scorer. There's not much there. Who else is going to play point guard? That has to be priority number 1, does it not?
No, it absolutely is. And we can't talk about guys. There's some really high-profile point guards that BYU's after that if people want to – on this show, we can't talk about it, right? We all know who they are. You all know who they are back home. They've got to get one of these guys they're going after at point guard. They literally need to go get a starting point guard. And that's not to say that Dallin Hall can't emerge eventually. He can play the point.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to play the point. I think he's going to have to contribute next year. What would be really nice.
You do, at point guard.
Yeah.
As at least the backup.
At least the backup.
Yep.
I don't think he has to be the guy at point guard next year because he's just going to be fresh off of a mission. That's too much to expect, right?
Yep.
But I do think that we can expect that he comes and plays significant minutes at the point as a backup. So that means in the transfer portal, you got to go get a starting point guard because Tijon and Alex are gone. And, they thought bringing Tijon in was going to take pressure off of Alex to have to handle the ball. And that Alex still had to handle the ball a bunch, right? So they lose both of those guys. And so they got to go get somebody. They've got some real high-profile guys. If they get one of those, then I think Dallin could be a really good – I think he's going to have to contribute. And I think in the transfer portal – right now, it looks like they've got a couple of scholarships. I think before it's all said and done, they may have 3. I think they need a big to augment what Atiki and Foose can do. And I think Foose needs to be able to play some 4, right? And maybe Caleb can go over and play some 3 if Foose can play some 4. That's going to help Caleb because he was always a face-up guy, and all of a sudden he's with his back to the basket all the time this last year. So that would make them better. And I think they need a combo 4-5 that can stretch defenses a little bit, that is a little different than Atiki and Foose, that can step out and make you go cover the 3 out there. And they've had some good bigs that they've got through. I think Harms was a great contributor when he came in. So they need a big. I think they need a big combo wing, a 6'6", 6'7" wing, and most importantly, they need a point guard. And I think they're going to have 3 scholarships available. We just had the transfer news of Hansen and Erickson. That opened up 2 scholarships. I think they'll have 1 more, and that's what they need to go get. And they need to get guys that have 2 or 3 years of eligibility, not one and dones, because they need those guys to be part of what they do as they step into the Big 12.
Yes.
And they can use that now for the first time. This is the first offseason where they could say, hey, you can play in the Big 12.
Yes.
Let's talk about what you mentioned with the backcourt. It feels like it's already kind of loaded to push Caleb into that area / I think he needs to stay in the front court. And if you're already signing some transfers, is there enough space to put Caleb at the 3 in that situation? I've always felt like he's a 4. They had to play him at some 5. It's not ideal. Hopefully you sign another 5 and you have a Tiki and you're good.
I mean, for me, if you don't ever play him at the 5 again, unless you specifically are going against a team that you want to go small and run against, that would be great for him. Because I think he needs to be primarily a 4, but maybe spend some time at 3. When you're looking at matchups and you're playing a team that has a big 3 that he can go out and defend on the perimeter, and maybe you play a team that has a 3 that can't defend him on the perimeter. I mean, Caleb used to be a really good shooter,
yeah.
Right? And so there's just this confidence issue. If he can get that confidence back and knock down shots, then when you push up on him, you know what he can do. He'll put it on the floor and he'll dunk on people's heads, right? And so I think that he would be happier as a player if he could play 3 and 4, primarily 4, but play some minutes at the 3, and never play at the 5 if you can help.
Certainly, and as a face-up player, because his entire career he has been a face to the basket, not a back to the basket player.
And BYU's deepest spot right now is the 2, right? And I think Seneca is going to take a huge jump this year because he's going to understand his role better. I think there were times when the light bulb was on, and other times where it's like, I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to get my shot. And this is Alex's team. So I think he takes a huge step forward this year and becomes the guy he was at San Jose State, where he understands I'm a primary scorer. I can have the ball in my hands. I can go get some points. And he's not a shooter. He's a scorer. And he can be that this next year. So the 2's and Seneca can play some 3. Right?
Yeah, 2 and 3 interchangeable. Right. I wonder, Blaine, if it's the same situation as San Jose State, though, because that team was terrible. Like, someone had to score.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The guy.
So I wonder in this situation if it's the same. But whoever BYU brings in, they're trying to make the tourney next year, which brings us to this. Is next year about next year, or is it about preparing for the Big 12? Because ideally it's both, but it's hard to do both.
It is hard to do both. I think that our expectations can be, if they get the right people, if they go get a really high-quality point guard and then another big, even if they don't get a wing like I want them to, with the pieces they have, this is a team that's scheduled, and I realize they play in the Challenge of Atlantis. What is that called?
Bahamas or whatever?
Yeah, the one in Atlantis. I want to go cover that one if we can.
Seriously.
So they have quite a challenging preseason schedule, but this is a year where I always expect that they're going to win 20 games, even in a reload year, right? And the schedule's conducive to them to be able to do that if people step up that need to step up. But I do think it's vital they get a point guard and a big from the transfer portal. And then you got to get guys. You guys talk about Saunders and Toulson. These are shooting guards. There were big-time recruits. Toulson, we were talking about off on the air, 5'6" as a freshman in high school, 6'5" as a senior with the skill set that he had when he was 5'6". This is Andy Toulson's boy. Andy Toulson's one of the best fundamental shooters I've ever seen. When you watch Tanner shoot, you're like, man, that's Andy. Great footwork, perfect form. So he shot 46% from 3. He's going to be a really good Big 12 player. He's a 6'5" that can really stroke it, right? And we already talked about Dallin, and then Saunders reminds me of, I hate to even say this because people are like, oh, really? He reminds me of Chase Fisher with his ability to shoot and elevate and do those kinds of things. And so he's also a really good 2-3 kind of a guy. And so great shooting is what BYU is going to need in the Big 12. Let those guys come back from their mission. Dallin Hall is going to have to contribute, I think, because they're so thin at the point, and he can play the point. Let those guys develop. And now you're going to the Big 12, and you got Tiki back for his 3rd year, Tiki back, and you've got Foose and these transfers that you brought in. They have another year.
Colin Chandler.
And Dallin Hall's in his 2nd year. And then Tanner Toulson and Richie are coming back. And then Colin Chandler joins the team, who's truly an NBA talent. I think you can do both.
Okay.
I think you can do both. I don't know. Is it an NCAA tournament team or is it borderline like this year? That's okay with me if they are, as long as I look like they're making progress to go into the Big 12.
Okay, Blaine, we need to bring something up that showed up on Twitter over the weekend from a man named Andy Malnosky at 18 Sports Andy, who pointed out a 1979 sports flashback on 16-millimeter film.
Is this from 1929?
It says,
look at this film, Blaine.
Fowler and the Blue Devils scorched Southside in the Erie Bell game. Look at you, fleet of foot.
Oh, throwing on the run.
Escaping pressure, connecting with the receiver downfield.
I like when my guys fumble forward for 15
forward,
yards.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, and it's, you know, it brought back some fun memories. It's funny, when you think back, I'm watching that. Well, the first thing I'm saying is, hey, it would have been good to have somebody block right there instead of getting smacked in the face. But the thing that I thought about watching this was all of the guys on the team. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh, it brings back memories of friendships. That's what sports is all about, you know? When we go talk about the teams that I played on in the 80s and national championships, the thing that, when we had that alumni day the other day and that alumni flag football game, it's just all about the relationships. That's exactly what I thought. I tweeted back at him and told him thanks for that great memory, but mostly the memory of the players that I played with that are, you know, several of which are still really good friends today. That's what being in sports is all about. That team's a really good team. Our starting tight end was 6'5" and 230 and started for 4 years at Syracuse. Marty Chalk. Ricky Allen, our wide receiver, Richie Allen's son, the National League two-time most valuable player, was a 10-500-meter guy playing wide receiver. My job was pretty easy. Drop back and just huck it. Kind of like what Max Hall did in the alumni game at the end. When Jerome had the mic, and the guy's like, I'm this and I'm that. And Max is like, hey, guys, I'm just going to huck it, okay? I'm just going to huck it.
Got to chuck it up.
With that team, all I had to do was just drop back and huck it. That was a fun team.
That's awesome. And I can't believe you played in 1929. That's crazy, man.
Blaine, great to have you here, man.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.